Hey everybody, welcome back to Trail Expedition. My name is Scott, and as you could probably tell from the thumbnail, we just picked up the Go Fast Campers V2 Pro. Got it on top of the Gladiator here. Literally, they just installed this a couple of hours ago. So tonight's gonna be my first night camping in it. I'm super excited for it. But while I'm out here in Missouri actually, and I figure we might as well do some exploring while we're out here.
After getting the Go Fast Camper V2 Pro installed at Adventure Motors in Kansas City, Missouri, I was eager to finally put it to the test. So I headed to the Mark Twain National Forest, looking for quiet trails, history, and a chance to see how the new setup handled off pavement.
The trail I'm doing right now is called the Huzza Creek Train Trail. It is a green trail on Onyx. I think it's only rated like a 2 or 3 out of 10, so it's going to be relatively easy. I wanted to do something easy as the GFC's first trail, just because I'm really not sure how it's going to handle. I'm sure it's going to be completely fine, but I still am trying to get used to having all the extra weight up top.
My first stop was Woodlock Cemetery.
And I'm heading down this trail, and I passed this what appears to be a really old looking cemetery, and this thing looks ancient. Don't know much about it. It's called Woodlock. Let's check it out.
As you enter, you're greeted by what was once a grand stone entrance. Stairs and walls that clearly meant something to the people who built them. Time hasn't been kind to it. The stones have shifted, the structure has weakened, and what was once elaborate now feels fragile and forgotten. On the back side of the entrance, a single word is carved into the stone: Mizpah. In Hebrew, Mizpah refers to several significant locations in the Bible, but it's also known for its meaning, a bond of watchful protection between people. After climbing the old stone steps, you're met with the headstones of Patrick and Henrietta Woodlock. Etched into the stone is a message that immediately changes the mood of the place. The sun that makes the violets bloom once cheered their eyes, now closed in death. The wind that wanders o'er their tomb was once their vital breath.
Definitely a handful of graves here. I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 or so. The oldest one looks to be this Patrick Woodlock, 1840. It's the oldest one that I've seen.
After leaving Woodlock Cemetery, I made my way back to the Huzza Creek Train Trail. According to Onyx, this trail is rated easy, and for the most part, it's a well-maintained dirt road that follows an old decommissioned railroad line. The trail weaves in and out of heavily wooded sections, and it's easy to imagine trains once moving through this same corridor. If you're running the trail south to north like I was, there is a downhill section with about a 7% grade. Nothing extreme, but definitely a reminder to make sure your brakes are in good working order.
So 95% of this trail is exactly what you're seeing right here. Just regular gravel dirt road, nothing too challenging. Very easy trail, it can be done in 2-wheel drive.
Even though the trail itself was easy, I could immediately feel the difference with the Go Fast camper mounted on top of the Jeep. The added weight is noticeable, especially with wind catching the camper more than before. A re-gear is probably in my future, sooner rather than later.
Alright guys, and this is the very end of the Huzzah Creek Train Trail. It was a relatively short and easy trail, but I figured, hey, while I'm out here I might as well do a little bit of trail riding. So like I said, I did the trail south to north. On the north end, it ends with this, looks like another creek crossing. But all the creeks have these bridges, so you're actually not in any kind of water. So overall, easy trail. All right guys, I do apologize. I rolled into camp late. It's dark. There's no point in showing you guys the setup and everything of the GFC. I'm in it right now. I'm actually just gonna head to bed here in a little bit because it's getting pretty late. But anyway, I will catch you guys in the morning. Well, good morning, everybody. It is the next day here in the Mark Twain National Forest. I'm still in the GFC tent, slowly getting around. It's pretty chilly this morning. It's in the 30s. So I contemplated not even showing you guys the tent right now just because it is a hot mess. This is not the final configuration of what everything is going to look like. So when you pick up your GFC tent, if you guys go to get one, you can't have anything in the bed. They say deck systems are fine, so I have the drawer system, the deck system in here. So I was able to keep that in here. But everything else that you guys see in here was just thrown in the back seat of my truck. So when I got the GFC installed, basically I pulled everything out of the back seat of the truck and I threw it in here, just so I could sleep last night. So it is a hot mess, and like I said, when I get home, I'm gonna rearrange everything and just make it so it's just a lot more user friendly. Right now, it's just everything is everywhere. But anyway, I'm gonna get camp packed up, and then I'm gonna be hitting the trail here.
This next part is real-time footage of me packing up the Go Fast camper, and honestly, it's the main reason I chose this setup. From start to finish, teardown takes about a minute. This was my very first time closing it up, and you can see me struggle a bit with the latches at first. I know I'll get faster as I get more experience with it though. One of the biggest reasons I've skipped trips in the past is how long a full camp setup can take. With the GFC, that excuse disappears. It's quick, simple, and it also feels more secure than a traditional ground tent, especially when you're camping alone out in remote areas. Once everything was packed up, I hit the trail again, putting down a few pavement miles as I made my way toward my next destination, the ruins of Ha Ha Tonka Castle. So I'm actually out at the Ha Ha Tonka State Park right now, and one of the things that's out here is this really old castle from like 1905. Let's check it out. So the guy that built this castle, he actually has his own water tower. So walking up to this water tower, they do have it gated off. I mean, you can walk up to it, you just can't get inside of it. Rising from the cliffs above the Lake of the Ozarks, the ruins of the Ha Ha Tonka Castle stand as one of Missouri's most unusual landmarks. Stone walls, empty windows, and a towering arch overlook the landscape below. Silent reminders of ambition, tragedy, and time. The story of Ha Ha Tonka begins at the turn of the 20th century, when wealthy businessman Robert Snyder set out to build a European-style castle in the middle of the Ozarks. Inspired by the great fortresses of Europe, Snyder chose this dramatic bluff for its commanding view and natural beauty. The land itself had long been known as Ha Ha Tonka, a phrase believed to mean laughing waters, a reference to the powerful springs flowing nearby. Construction began in the early 1900s. Local stone was quarried by hand, hauled up steep slopes, and shaped into walls meant to last for generations. The castle was designed to be both luxurious and imposing, a symbol of success rising from the wilderness. But Snyder would never see his dream completed. In 1906, before the castle was finished, Snyder died in a car accident. Leadership of the project passed to his sons, who continued building despite the loss. Over time, the structure took shape. Massive walls, arched doorways, and a grand interior that contrasted sharply with the rugged Ozark terrain surrounding it. Yet, the castle's story was already shadowed by misfortune. In 1931, a devastating fire swept through the structure. Fueled by wooden floors and interior beams, the blaze left the castle gutted and roofless. What remained were the stone walls. Too solid to fall, too damaged to repair, the castle was abandoned, left to the elements. Decades passed. Wind and rain wore away the stone. Trees grew where hallways once stood. Nature slowly reclaimed what ambition had built. From a distance, the ruins resemble something ancient, as though they had stood for centuries rather than decades. Some say Ha Ha Tonka feels haunted, not by spirits, but by intention. Every stone was placed with purpose, every wall meant to stand as proof of permanence. Instead, the castle became a lesson in how quickly plans can change, and how even the strongest structures are temporary. Today, the ruins are preserved as part of the Ha Ha Tonka State Park. Visitors walk the same paths once traveled by workers and builders, now surrounded by forest, cliffs, and sky. The castle no longer represents wealth or power. It represents history paused mid-sentence. Ha Ha Tonka does not whisper legends or ghost stories. It tells something quieter, and perhaps more unsettling. That no matter how grand the dream, nature always has the final word.
Alright guys, the Ha Ha Tonka, it's a funny name. The castle, it was really cool. You can't go inside of it. They have it all fenced off, and for good reason. You know, it's an old structure, it's not stable, so you just have to walk around it. But if you're in the area, it's definitely worth stopping to take a look at. It's amazing how big it was, and you know, it's really sad that the guy started building it in 1905 and then was killed in a car crash in 1906. So he never got to see his dream come true. Later on, his sons did finish the castle in 1922, I believe it said. But then I believe in the 1940s, it caught fire and it was lost. And that's what you guys see today. I actually found out about this castle from Caleb over at Baker Overland. He made a video about this specific castle, and he does a really good job with it. He goes into extreme detail of the entire history of it, more so than what I can do. So if you guys want to know more about this castle, go to Baker Overland, watch his video. It's really good. Alright guys, I know this isn't my traditional video, but I figured, hey, if I'm going to be driving to Missouri to pick up the GFC camper, might as well bring you guys along for the ride. So didn't really do a whole lot of trail riding, but the castle thing was cool. Obviously getting the camper was cool. I know the inside of it is just kind of, everything is just in disarray right now. I am going to get it all dialed in, and then when I do, I'm going to do another video of doing just a camp walk around with it. So stay tuned for that one in the future. But anyway, I'm going to cut this one off right here. I will catch you guys in the next video.